se det. Igår kväll hade de en presskonferens, den sista innan avfärd. Och strax är det alltså dags. Nu har de bland annat satt på sig sina rymddräkter och testat dem en sista gång. Och tidigare idag så tog också besättningen farväl av sina familjer och satte sig på den buss som tog dem till uppsändningsplatsen. Och för ungefär 2,5 timmar sedan så tog de plats inne i den. Väl inne där har de utfört några sista kontroller och nu har de också aktiverat lift-off-systemen. Klockan 15.57 är det dags och i en hastighet på hisnande 25 000 kilometer i timmen så tas astronauterna därefter mot rymden och de kommer att vara tyngdlösa redan 10 minuter efter uppsändning. Och om allt går som det ska så är de framme vid ISS om bara ungefär 6 timmar. Och nu gör vi som så att vi förflyttar oss till Kazakstan för att inte missa någonting av den här historiska uppskjutningen. Då Jessica Meir alltså blir första svenska kvinna i rymden.
When there was a short taxi flight that brought up a Kazakh cosmonaut, and that was during the one-year mission for Scott Kelly and Mikhail Kornienko. So again, it was another really long duration flight, and we had a crew member going up for a short, we call it a taxi flight, just about an 8-day mission. Our next question comes from Good Hope, who wanted to know, is there a possibility their flight path will be affected by the HTV-8 launch that just happened yesterday? No, it won't. This is something, as you can imagine, all of the different flight controllers look at very carefully. There's usually some constraints around when vehicles are arriving, but these won't be arriving at the same time. This Sojuz going to launch and dock today. The HTV-8 not set to actually get really close to the space station until Saturday. And then we'll do one more, this one from Cassidy, who wants to know, what do they eat? Well, Cassidy, they eat quite a bit of different things. Each of the crew members, before they go up, at least on the NASA side, get a chance to sit down with NASA food scientists to map out all of their likes and dislikes for their menu items. It's much more diverse of a menu than you might imagine, getting everything from shrimp cocktail to different pork chops, things of that nature. Food in space, not as you might imagine. They don't have the freeze-dried ice cream. We actually are able to send real ice cream sometimes, and most of their food not coming in tubes. It's dehydrated, and so it actually has we call it a shelf-stable life, so it'll maintain taste and nutrition for up to 2 to 3 years. Right now, though, we are just under 6.5 minutes away from launch. We have teams here in Mission Control Houston standing by to monitor. They'll be much more involved once the vehicle actually approaches the space station. And then overseeing today's mission, Mission Control Moscow out in Koryov. They're going to be talking directly to the crew during their flight up to orbit. And on the right there, a continuing look at a live view of the Soyuz rocket on the launch pad. We are just 6 minutes away. At this point, all of the pre-launch operations are complete. And the countdown, the first and second stage engines are ready for launch. They've confirmed that they've gotten telemetry from the rocket, indicating that all the primary and backup systems are ready to support. And we just heard the call that the launch key has been inserted in the launch bunker. That's probably one of the coolest things about one of these launches is they do use an actual key. That transitions the launch sequence into its automatic mode. So we are T-minus 5 minutes, 15 seconds away from launch. And at this point, the range at Baikonur has been cleared. The Soyuz rocket ready to begin its journey.
Ground measurement system is activated by Run 1 command. Combustion chamber nitrogen purge.
We are T-minus 4 minutes, 30 seconds at this point. Fuel lines, the combustion chamber being purged with nitrogen, so using a nitrogen gas to blow out any remaining vapors of fuel or oxidizer that may be in those fuel lines. At this point, the crew member have their helmets closed inside the cabin. They're strapped in and ready for launch.
Sarmat, how do you read me? How do you read me? Loud and clear. Everything is fine on board. Copy.
You're hearing a translation between the commander, Oleg Skripochka, and the actual launch engineers there in Baikonur, reporting everything good on board, the crew ready to go.
Ground measurement system is activated by Run 2 command.
Ключ на дренаж. Есть дренаж.
Oxidizer and fuel drain and safety valves of launch vehicle are closed.
And just passing the 3-minute mark now away from launch. All the cockpit displays inside the Sojuz are lit up and ready for cosmonaut Oleg Skripochka to keep an eye on during today's flight. All the onboard systems are switched over to onboard control, continuing to march down 2 minutes 40 seconds away from liftoff.
Repress.
And keep an eye on the videos. You'll see 2 large umbilical towers or arms kind of connected to the rocket still. The taller one is the first umbilical tower. That'll separate the booster and that'll initiate auto sequence start. That coming right at around T-minus 35 seconds. And when you see the smaller umbilical detach, that means we are 15 seconds away from launch. And T-minus 2 minutes from launch. One minute 30 seconds away. It does look like we have some cloud cover there in Baikonur, so you may see it disappear into the cloud deck pretty quickly. That first stage going to light up the night sky, though. It's going to burn for the first several minutes before those 4 strap-on boosters break away at just about 1 minute and 58 seconds into the flight. One minute and counting.
1 minute to lift off contact. Copy. Everything is fine on board. We're feeling well and we're ready for launch. Copy. Vehicle to internal power.
And you see that first umbilical separating. And now keep an eye on the one a little bit lower down. Once that separates, you know we're 15 seconds away from liftoff.
Пуск, бортовое питание.
Auto sequence initiated.
Auto sequence start. Second umbilical separating. T-minus 15 seconds. You can see the engine starting to fire.
Second umbilical.
The first stage ramping up.
Engine turbo pumps at flight speed. Engines at maximum thrust.
And liftoff.
Liftoff.
Oleg Skripochka, Jessica Meir, Ali Al-Mansuri leaping forth from Gagarin start on their way to the International Space Station.
60 seconds in flight. First and second stage thrusters are operating just fine. Copy. Everything is fine on board the Soyuz. We're feeling great. Copy.
We're going to continue to get these translations throughout the flight. Everything's still sounding good with that first stage. You can see the 4 strap-on boosters lighting up the night sky. Soyuz delivering 930,000 pounds of thrust with that first stage, the 4 boosters and the single core engine. You can see them punching through the cloud layer there. The first stage measures 68 feet in length, 24 feet in diameter, burning liquid fuel for the first 2 minutes of the flight.
The flight, pitch, your roll are nominal.
So pitch, yaw, and roll referring to the orientation of the vehicle. Nominal, a word you'll hear a lot. That just means everything is proceeding normally. Continuing to get good first stage indicators from the Soyuz. Things looking good inside the cabin. You can see Jessica Meir at the top of your screen. Alex Kropochka at the bottom there in the commander seat.
First and second stage thrusters are operating nominally.
A little over a minute and a half into the flight, everything continuing to go well with the Soyuz crew. They've already well exceeded over 1,100 miles an hour. The next things we're going to be looking for is the escape tower jettison, and then the first stage strap-on boosters separating. And they're getting a great view. You can see that choreographed across the first stage. Strap-on boosters have separated along with that tower. Now the core engine continuing to fire. The Soyuz already at an altitude of about 28 statute miles.
Nominal, copy. Everything is nominal on board. We are feeling great, copy.
So at this point, the Soyuz traveling in excess of 3,300 miles per hour. You can see those 4 strap-on boosters continuing to descend. The Soyuz powered now by that core stage engine.
160 seconds into the flight, copy. Yes, we see that the launch shroud jettison is also confirmed, affirmative.
The launch shroud protecting the Soyuz during that initial climb through the atmosphere has been jettisoned. This is actually a view from on the Soyuz spacecraft itself. You're looking down at one of the folded up solar arrays. We're over 3 minutes now inside. The rocket's altitude already 48 miles in height. At this point, traveling in excess of 4,700 miles per hour.
200 seconds into the flight. Second stage thrusters are operating nominally.
So everything continuing to go well with that core stage. The core stage booster of the Soyuz, 56 feet in length, 13.5 feet in diameter, has a single engine with 4 fuel chambers, and it provides between 178,000 and 220,000 pounds of thrust, depending on the altitude, for its 3 minutes and 28 seconds of operation. This is going to continue to burn until about 4 minutes 43 seconds into the flight. Then Soyuz is going to use what's called a hot stage technique.
Copy all. Everything is nominal on board. We're feeling great. Copy.
Reports everyone doing well on board, everything continuing to go well. Again, that hot stage technique will actually see the third stage start to fire while the second stage is still connected. It has a lattice-like structure between the 2 stages, allowing the exhaust to escape, and that allows then the core stage to drop away, with the third stage already powering the Soyuz into its initial orbit.
The launch vehicle control system parameters are nominal. We are standing by for Vecka 2. Second stage shutdown.
And standing by for that third stage ignition. And confirmation, second stage has shut down and separated. The Soyuz now being powered by that third stage engine.
Copy. Vecka 2 command, cutoff command went through, and everything is nominal on board. Copy all.
Everything continuing to proceed smoothly. The core booster separating at an altitude of about 105 miles in height. It's about 170 kilometers. Now being propelled by the single engine of the third stage. It provides about 67,000 pounds of thrust and is going to burn for a little over 4 minutes. It will be the final phase of the rocket's journey into orbit.
Third stage thrusters are operating nominally.
And again, this is a view looking back towards the end, and that'll be cutting in and out. This an animation of what's taking place right now. That third stage engine going to continue to fire and carry the vehicle into orbit. This is actually a view you're seeing one of the folded up solar arrays. That and along with a series of antennas will deploy shortly after the Soyuz makes its initial orbit. We're still about 2.5 minutes away from the shutdown and separation of the third stage. Everything continuing to go smoothly for this ride, taking off right on time at 8:57 a.m. Central Time. Everything looking good so far with the crew. Alex Kripochka, Jessica Meir, and Hazza Ali Al-Mansuri inside the spacecraft, well on their way to orbit.
400 seconds into the flight. The spacecraft is stable.
$450.
450 seconds into the flight. The flight is nominal.
And we're approaching 8 minutes since liftoff. At this point, the vehicle traveling at a velocity of over almost 13,500 miles an hour. We're just under a minute away from third stage shutdown and separation. We'll see the engine on the third stage cut off and separate, delivering the Soyuz spacecraft into its initial orbit.
Otroliga bilder som kommer till oss från NASA, från nytillkomna tittare. Det vi vet nu är alltså att svenska Jessica Meir är historisk som den första svenska kvinnan i rymden. Tillsammans med en rysk kollega och en kollega från Förenade Arabemiraten så har hon nu skjutits upp från Kazakstan. Och hennes allra första ord, som ni som tittade hörde efter take-off, det var "We're doing great". Och i en hastighet på hisnande 25 000 kilometer i timmen reser de nu mot rymden. De är redan i rymden och redan 10 minuter efter uppsändning så är de tyngdlösa, ungefär nu alltså. Och om allt går som det ska, då är de framme vid den internationella rymdstationen ISS om ungefär 6 timmar. Den ligger 40 mil bort från rymden. Om en kort stund så kommer vi att ha med oss Johan Markopoulos från den svenska rymdstyrelsen. Han ska berätta mer om exakt hur hennes uppdrag ser ut och vad hon kommer göra på sin fritid. Det är ganska mycket frågor man har nu. Men det vi vet just nu är att hon bara var 5 år gammal när hon bestämde sig för att bli astronaut. Drygt 35 år senare blev det alltså slutligen dags. Under de senaste 18 månaderna så har Jessica befunnit sig på centrumet för den ryska kosmonaututbildningen. Det mytomspunna Star City utanför Moskva, där hon av och till har tränats otroligt hårt. Och nu, de närmaste 6 månaderna cirka, kommer hon att spendera vid den internationella rymdstationen ISS, där hon och de andra rymdfararna kommer att genomföra hundratals experiment. Det finns redan 4 personer på plats där uppe, så sammanlagt blir de 7 personer på den internationella rymdstationen. Som sagt, om en kort stund så kommer vi att ha med oss Johan Markopoulos från den svenska rymdstyrelsen. Han har väldigt bra koll på Jessica och hennes uppdrag, så jag tycker att ni som tittar ska fortsätta göra det ett tag till. Men härligt att konstatera att allt har gått bra så här långt. Jessica Meirs första ord efter uppskjut var "We're doing great". Härligt. Och med det så lyssnar vi in lite till på hur det låter hos NASA.
Oversight of the spacecraft now going to be transferring over to the Russian Mission Control Center just outside of Moscow. It'll be this team right there in the room. And again, we did get confirmation that both solar arrays and all of the rendezvous and docking antennas have deployed. So a spacecraft in good health along with the crew now ready to make the 6-hour journey towards the space station.
Сарматы, получаем картинку.
Sarmats, we can see the image.
И ждем от вас первый замер.
And we're standing by for the first measurement per page 36 from you. Moscow, this is Sarmat. RDR was nominal and on time. Copy. RPVs are closed. Copy. Moscow, this is Sarmat 2. I'm ready to report the first measurement. We are ready, Sarmat 2. 17:08:05. SR pressure is 824. Bow pressure is 821. 18.119. 269 20 23 21 3 2 1 3 2 7 19.6 18.1 9 800 and inaudible. Copy all Sarmat 2. We have written down all the data. For page 39, course 1 and 2 tests were underway. Copy all. And Sudan test was also underway. Copy. Copy all. Sarmat. We are building the attitude right now. Sarmats, at the end of this compass, at 17:18, we will discuss what we'll do during the next compass that will start at 18:29. Deactivate and activate all com assets from PK. And don't forget to send G4 and VP1 command. Manual control test will be performed during the next compass, that is page 45, step 1. And EKV inhibit on the same page is at 18:32:00. How copy? Copy all. Also, for your information, per page 41, satellite attitude or satellite time is 18:41 through 18 inaudible. Come again? I did not quite catch that. 17:41, 18:01. That is the satellite time. 17:41, 18:01. That is a good copy. And we're standing by for the next measurement. Moscow Sarmat 2, I'm ready to report the next measurement for you. We are ready to copy. Inaudible.
Delta 1. Давление БО 821.
BO pressure is 821.
Давление ПО
Inaudible.
843. Delta 1.
2547. Inaudible.
Принято, замер записали.
Copy all. We have copied all the measurements. And everything is nominal. Copy. Sarmat 2. Moscow Sarmat 1.
So again, the crew now in space. You can hear them running through a number of different system checks on board the Soyuz. We are going to take a couple more hashtag Ask NASA questions. This one from German wanted to know, does NASA ever answer the hashtag Ask NASA questions? And I can definitively say yes, German, yes we do. Our next one comes from Harvard Elementary. Some fourth grade students wanted to know, what do astronauts do for entertainment while in space? It's actually much cushier now to be an astronaut than it was even years ago. The astronauts have access to internet while they're up there, so they also have books. They can read things online. We have TV and movies made available for them. They also have several instruments usually on board the space station, so plenty of ways to stay entertained while they're spending very long durations in space. Our next question comes from Chris. Wanted to know, how long does it take to train to go to space? It depends on the mission. For most of these astronauts that are going up to do about 6 months to a year in space, they'll spend about 2 years training just for that mission. So to become an astronaut, you'll go through a few years of kind of astronaut 101 basic training, and then once you do get assigned, it takes about 2 years. And that's training not only here in Houston, but all over the world. They'll spend a lot of time over in Russia training on the Russian systems, especially if they're going to fly on one of these Soyuz spacecraft, but also in places like Japan and different countries in Europe for the different systems on board the station managed by those different countries. Mrs. Melcher's class wanted to know, why is the launch in Kazakhstan and not UAE?